So welcome back. We're talking with Lynn Andrews about her book, Coming Full Circle. And before the break, we were talking about shamanism. Excuse me. And my question to you, Lynn, is, are you a shaman? And is Coming Full Circle about shamanism?
Yes, I am a shaman. I have been initiated into that world. I am a reverend also. And I am what they would call, I guess, a person of high degree. Certainly an urban shaman as opposed to someone who has grown up in a native tradition. And it's not about native tradition. It's about the ancient sacred way of woman. And it's in ancient, I hate to even mention this because it's such a stretch for people to get their heads around.
Oh, we like stretching around here, so go ahead.
Stretch us, Lynn, stretch us.
I'm going to stretch you here for a minute. In ancient times, the wisdom that I teach, that I write about in all these books, comes from beings of light who seeded this wisdom in scrolls that are held in the 7 clay pots. And in these 7 clay pots, there are all manner of teachings and history and past history and all kinds of things that have to do with this world. And I'm teaching about the things that I've learned from those 7 clay pots that have been translated to me through these extraordinary women of power that live pretty much completely unknown women in different parts of the world. They may be in Egypt, they may be in Afghanistan, of all places in these days, and Tibet and all over the world. And I visit them, we meet on great occasion. And I wrote a book called Wind Horse Woman in Tibet. And I flew into Nepal, to Kathmandu, and met with Ani, a Nepalese hill woman who is part of this circle. And she taught me about life and death. She taught me about ways of looking at grief, ways of looking at life and death. And I mention this in Coming Full Circle quite a bit. I talk about the different adventures and things that I've gone through with these women. And we were in Tibet and almost killed by red Chinese soldiers. And it's quite an adventure. All my books are adventures, by the way. They're not how-to books. It's
that's true.
That's too boring.
God forbid we should just have a how-to book, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of those, but experiences like yours are priceless.
Yeah,
Lynn, I want to ask you a question that.
Okay.
I bought this book a year ago, and I haven't even got past page 1, but it's been lurking around. I've carried it around in my truck, and the other night I opened it, and it was I think it's called The Book of Women, and it was written by Osho, and the first sentence is, "Women are to be loved, not understood." And from a male perspective, it just like when I read that, it was like, whoa, okay, maybe there's a whole lot of truth in that, because as men, we always want to try and understand things. And can you just talk about that a little bit from your experience, because you've studied with these powerful women and you're a powerful woman yourself, and what are your thoughts on that? And is there some validity to that?
Can we understand who we are ourselves? Do you know who you are? Who is that authentic self that is Roger? Do you know? Mm-hmm. That's what you're really looking for in that question. But I work with the sacred wheel. And in the sacred wheel is divided into north, south, east, and west. And there's a meaning to every direction. And in all of the traditions, particularly ancient traditions in the world, the paradigm for the process of mind is outlined in this wheel. And so imagine that you're in the south of the wheel, which stands for the physical, manifestation, your physical, how you take care of your physical life, how you manifest your career. And it's exemplified by the field mouse with his nose closest to the ground, because the field mouse knows the energy of Mother Earth, knows the rhythms of Mother Earth. That's all in the south. Then you move around, sunwise always, to the west, and you have the sacred dream, death and rebirth, transformation. And it's also the direction of emotions, where woman tends to live on the wheel. The child tends to be in the south, the child moving into adulthood, manifesting their world. In the west is emotion. Women tend to live more in emotion than men. And right across the wheel is the east, where men live. And in the east is mind, rationale, the old wise one, the sacred clown who tests everything you do to see if it's real. So you've got man over here and woman over here, east, west, west, east. I'll segue for a minute and talk about relationship. When two people meet, you have a woman in the west and a man in the east, and they fall in love. And it's a spiritual experience which comes from the north. It's inspiring. It's fabulous. You're in love. And you meet in the south and you make love and you talk about, oh, what we can do with our lives. Isn't it wonderful? And they get married. Then you have her saying, this is what I think. No, this is what I feel about what you think, darling. And he says, but this is what I think about what you feel, darling. And all of a sudden, you're going back and forth. No understanding.
No.
Because you're not bringing spirit into the mix. You're just, trying to understand each other. Then you meet in the south to take out the garbage or to make love or, to go about your daily life. And then you go back to the east and the west. And what's missing always is spirit. Always, often. And when you miss spirit and just have, I'll go to church on Sunday, or I'll meditate tomorrow, or, isn't that interesting, shamanism, I'll go take a class in that, which, gives you an idea of something new and mysterious and probably doesn't, to be taught something, you have to immerse yourself into it. You have to get the experience of it. So I always give events. I'm giving a big event at the end of May in Phoenix, the last week of May. And it's all on my website and everything. But I will be giving people the experience of, there's a phrase that I love, and it's how wisdom comes. And the event is about how wisdom comes. And then it's about the sacred aspects of relationship, having to do with what we're talking about, the sacred wheel and how we use it. I mean, you, just yourself, Roger, you're on you do a radio show and whatever you do in your life. And that's all in the south on the wheel. Mm-hmm. And let's just say you wanted to change your job. You would then go to the West, or I would, if I were working with you, I'd take you to the West, and we'd talk about your sacred dream. What was your dream as a child? The things that happened through your life that brought you to where you are now? Or how do you feel about death? What do you feel about transformation? And then we'd go over to the East and talk about, what you want to do. I want to be a ballet dancer. And you look at the East and, yeah. I knew it. I'm so sorry.
You are.
There's no mistaking why she chose ballet dancer.
Right.
All right. But you see, in the East, the old wise one would say, wait a minute, is that really, is that reasonable? And you'd say, well, I've never had any dance lessons, but I'd really like to start now at this late date. And and the old wise one would probably say, well, you need to start when you're about 5. And anyway, that's how that works across the wheel. And you go to spirit and you talk to God or the great goddess mother or who the beings of light are in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the prime mover in the universe. And you talk to God about what it is you're feeling. And or, I don't know what to do about this. I've got to give this over to you because I can't deal with it. I don't know what to do,
Yeah, you have to surrender to that. You have to surrender to the whole process, really. And I think for men, that's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think so, because men are in a difficult position in life where a kind of the position of men is shifting because the position of woman is shifting. Many, many families, the woman is out working and the man is staying home. And everything is turned around, and not good or bad. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if that's an inspiration for you and you love it, it's wonderful. A lot of men don't know what to do. They forget that they have to do their homework. If you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to school. If you want to be a spiritual teacher, a reverend, a shaman, you need to go to school. You need to learn. What does that even mean? Energetic. What kind of energy? How do I use it? Most people don't know or don't understand that there's 2 different kinds of female energy. And
what are those?
Yeah, tell us more about that.
The female energy of a woman is either rainbow mother. I learned this from Soila in the Mayan world. Mm-hmm. The rainbow mother is the poet, the artist, the one who never fits in or usually doesn't fit in. The one who never does anything on a schedule. It's very hard for her to be pinned down to 2:00 on Monday, The nurturing mother, which is the other energy, quite to the contrary of the rainbow mother, is the one who raises the families, who can go to PTA meetings, loves it, loves cooking, loves being at home, loves doing all the things that support this society. They're kind of the pillars of this society. And oftentimes the issue is that a nurturing mother will give birth to a rainbow child. And there you have a rainbow child who wants to explore the universe, wants to walk down streets it's never been on and gets lost coming home from school, and doesn't want to do study, wants to write poetry or play an instrument. And
have one of those.
Right. And like my mother was definitely that. It didn't know. She was just trying to keep me alive, keep me from going off and
drowning in
somewhere.
Quicksand, falling off the edge of a caldera.
Right. And so she was always trying to, honey, we need to cut your hair. Your hair is in your face, and I just want to see your face. And I'd say, oh, Mother. And I would think she didn't love me. She didn't understand me. And then I'd wear clothes. I didn't want to wear outfits. I didn't ever want to wear something that matched. It was years later that I finally decided that, that's not a bad idea, actually. Always try to dress me. Finally, we got over that by sending me to a school that wore uniforms. And then I was fine.
Catholic school would have sort of narrowed you in a bit.
Yeah. And anyway, the rainbow mother is a very different person. She has trouble in her early life because she doesn't really fit in. She doesn't know what to do, where to go, how to make a living. Oh my God, if she had to sit in an office pinned down, it's very hard for her. It's a stress. So if you're a healer working with a rainbow mother, you find out what they do and what, if they're working against their original nature, it's going to be very hard for them. They like to do things like play, be involved in theater, writing books, as long as it doesn't look too much like work. They just want to experience the universe. And they run into trouble early in life. The nurturing mother gets along great in early life, but in her later years, she runs into trouble. Excuse me. She runs into trouble because her family grows up and leaves. And then who does she nurture? Now what? Oftentimes a nurturing mother will change her husband, will, get a divorce at the end of her 40s or at the beginning of wise blood, which is a whole other subject, which I've written a couple of books on. Menopause, the years of the sacred change, really. And it's the beginning of wise blood, which is the beginning of your sacred time in life. All of these things are brought into this incredible journey of life. Woman has an incredible journey. And in our society, unfortunately, we don't honor first blood. And as a result of that, we don't honor wise blood either. My mother used to call it the curse when I went into first blood. And on and on. I mean, it's just, it's amazing what we have lost in terms of ceremony, in terms of different cultures having their beautiful ceremonies and lives that are different from the others. And how wonderful, vive la différence, it's so wonderful to see this tradition over here and this one over here. And now it has become, unfortunately, in the name of God, I kill you.
Sure.
And I'm talking all over the place here, I'm sorry. But all of this I talk about in coming full circle.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to go back a minute before we take a break and ask you a question that this phrase that you said earlier kind of got lost on me, and that is the firstness of women, or of woman. I think you said the firstness of woman. What do you mean by that phrase? Because I've not ever heard that before.
Well, it's a part of the native world because of their, gosh, excuse me, because of their relatedness to Mother Earth. We are on Mother Earth. So that's the firstness of woman. It's mother, not father. And Mother Earth, in a sense, is the great womb that gave us birth. And so, and everything returns to Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay.
comes and it goes, life, death, and transformation. So the firstness of woman, that's part of it. But more than that, if woman is not respected in a society, that society is going to lose the wisdom that really actually basically comes from the womb. It comes from the original mind, which is around your navel. And the navel area is your place of balance. It's a place of power, but it's also the first mind. And that first mind has a lot to do with the womb and that area around the first mind. And you, Roger, were mentioning Osho. Did you ever study with him?
No, I didn't. But both Janet and I have a friend. Excuse me.
Same thing.
That was a sannyasin.
Uh-huh.
And so over the last 2 or 3 years, like I'll go to her house and I'll take these books that he's written and I'll start reading these books. It's like, wow, it's like what he wrote and what he said, I'm like almost in total alignment with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I never studied with him.
Well, he was very brilliant. I always thought he was wonderful. I never met him, but you know, the history. After the show, I'll talk to you a little bit about the history of what happened with him.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, can we pick this up on the other side of the break?
Yes. Sorry.
All right. Great. So we'll be right back.